There was a great debate last night between Tariq and Jared Taylor. And if you don't know, Tariq is a well-respected evolutionary biologist, historian, and Jared Taylor is, I don't know, some trashy white supremacist that's obviously very ignorant. And I just kept wanting to scream to Jared Taylor, Jared, read a book, get yourself educated, but he embarrassed himself. And Tariq, he explained kind of the history of the African race and of white supremacy. It was brilliant. One of the first things that probably a lot of you are ignorant and don't understand is that the whole world, really until just a few thousand years ago, was populated only by Africans. Well, not Africans because they're across the world, I guess you would call it. We used to call them the Negroid race. But I think the term Negroid is offensive now, so black. Although black is kind of dated now, it's supposed to be African American. But I don't know if that makes sense. So we'll just say black, okay? But the whole world was populated only by blacks. So like the pyramids in Central America, Jared Taylor asked this question, and were they made by blacks? Yes, they were made by blacks.
Because most people, well, not most, the whole planet was black at one point.
If we really?
It was.
North America, South America?
Yes, absolutely. Look at the Olmec statues down in South America. Even in Britain, they just came out with a story talking about Cheddar Man was a black people up in modern Britain. So we dominated the planet.
The whole planet?
The whole planet. The whole planet.
Oh. Okay, great. You have the whole planet.
All right, so the whole world, even up in England and Finland and China and Japan, in North America, it was all African Americans or blacks that ruled the whole world. And then the question was where did white people come? He didn't explain where Asians came from, but white people came from.
Wow. Now, where did the white people come from? Were they created by a guy on Patmos? Yaqub? Did Yaqub cook them up?
I look at it from a scientific standpoint. The white supremacists came out during the Warmian Ice Age. This is when the people who are classified as white now were depigmented because they were in the Warmian Ice Age and they lost the melanin being stuck in the ice. And the nose became alkaline, the lips became thinner, the
alkaline,
hair longer to protect the neck because of the heat thing. So there's a scientific reason for it.
That's right. See, the Ice Age came in Europe, and I guess, African Americans or blacks that were living in Europe, they lost their melanin, it just fell out, and their lips became thin, see, thin lips, and our noses became alkaline. Like I have an alkaline nose. I didn't even know that. Alkaline, if you don't know, that measures the acidity of a liquid. And if it's alkaline, that means it's pH 7 or above. So I didn't realize this, but I guess white people have alkaline noses. So the next question is how did these primitive people with alkaline noses end up dominating the world?
You realize white people are probably only 15% of the population of the world.
No, they're less than that. You're 8% of the population of the world.
Okay, 8%, that's fine. And yet this 8% manages to dominate the entire globe.
Yes.
How come?
Because the white supremacists were smart enough to use deception in a way that has never been used before. Black people across the planet, they've been used to this honor system with dealing with each other.
That's right, pure trickery. Because I think the same mutation that gave us alkaline noses also gave us a trickster gene. Because the Negroids or the blacks or African Americans, whatever you want to call them, that ruled the whole world, and they lived in peace and harmony with each other, and they were very advanced and superior, but they were so honest that our evil tricking is how we were able to steal everything from them. And it's true, it's to this day, if you go into an African American part of the city, I mean, you can leave all your stuff out, you can unlock your doors because they're very honorable people that don't engage in any dishonesty. That came from these thin-lipped, alkaline-nosed people from Europe. They trick these poor people. But because whites are naturally stupid, even though we're tricksters, we almost died out until this happened.
White supremacy really started dominating 500 years ago, because remember, when you guys were going through the Dark Ages in Europe, it was actually black people called the Moors who came in there and brought in civilization and ushered in the Renaissance era to save the Europeans from dying. You almost died out because
Listen up. Y'all don't understand. This land that you stand on, that you think is America, this is actually Africa. The dear Mississippi that you love, that you know of, that's the Nile River. This is our land. You are Aboriginal Indigenous American. You are a Moorish American. So where is their green card? Where is their green card? Huh? Huh? They need weapons. We don't need no weapons. Huh? Huh? Stop calling us black. We're not African American. We Moorish American. Aboriginal Indigenous.
What's all right over there?
Land. Know the laws of the land. Know your birthright and nationality. You are a Moorish American. Fight for your nationality. The Pope says stand up. The Pope says stand up. The Pope says stand up. Know the land. Know the laws of the land. You are an Aboriginal Indigenous American.
of the plague.
That's right. The Moors, who were Negroid or Africans or African Americans, whatever you want to call them, they took pity on the poor Europeans being so barbaric in Europe, and they're like, wow, these Europeans are all going to die from the plague unless we come in and rescue them. So the Moors, based on the goodness of their hearts, because they live in harmony with nature and they just love everyone, they came in and they gave these European white people the Renaissance, and they helped cure the plague. They're the ones that did that. And then Jared Taylor showed his ignorance. I mean, really, Jared, have you ever even read a book? But Jared said, oh, how about the Greeks and the Romans? Weren't they white? Therese is like, no, they were Negroid or African Americans or black or whatever you want to call them. I mean, it's obvious. And Jared's like, well, wait a minute, take a look at this. I mean, the statues, they look pretty white. And here's a statue of Julius Caesar. And yeah, he doesn't really look like an African American. And there's thousands of these statues, and it's just not statues. Their face was on coins. So how do you explain that?
So we have statues of Greeks and Romans. They don't look the least bit mulatto to me. Am I cross-eyed, or what's my problem?
Those statues are built in the 1800s. You have statues at museums that don't have a scratch in them. That's supposed to be 2,000 years old. That's ridiculous. Those are forgeries.
Yep, forgeries. White supremacists, they secretly created all these statues to fool the African Americans, to make them feel bad about themselves. So then the question is why do white people keep Africans or blacks or African Americans down? And the reason is,
I do think this is significant and interesting, that you genuinely think that we white people, we would just be in a, what's that? Okay, white supremacists. But you're not sure how many of us really are white supremacists, but there are enough of us to run the world.
Yes.
We run the world. We may be a minority, but we white supremacists are so smart and so clever and so diabolical, we run the world.
Yes.
Now people, okay, so these very, very powerful, important people in the world, they need to have black people around to kick around. Is that right? That's what they live on.
Yes.
That's what makes them happy. That gives them a reason to exist, is kicking around black people, even though they're probably millionaires or billionaires, and they probably never see a black person in their entire daily life. But they need to know that they're at least out there so they could kick them around if they wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
so just to summarize, basically the whole planet was African American or black. And then because of the Ice Age, some of the people that were black, they lost their skin color and their nose became alkaline. And because of that, they also became tricksters, even though they're kind of primitive, and they tricked the African Americans or Africans, and they exploited them. But these people were also really stupid, and they were about to die off in Europe. But because Africans, they're so compassionate and they're so giving, they wanted to save Europe. So the Moors came and they introduced the Renaissance and they cured the plague. But these evil white people, they weren't they didn't have any gratitude. They decided to still exploit Africans, not because they're smarter, but because they're trickier, and they stole all the knowledge from the Africans. And the reason that the white people did this is because white people are naturally malicious and they like to kick around people. That is science and history. Talk to you guys later.